The Rolex Oyster Perpetual Submariner is a line of sports watches designed for diving manufactured by Rolex, known for their resistance to water and corrosion. The first Submariner was introduced to the public in 1954 at the Basel Watch Fair. The Rolex Submariner is considered a classic among wristwatches, manufactured by one of the most widely recognized luxury brands in the world, and due to its popularity has become the subject of massive counterfeiting. The Rolex Submariner is part of Rolex's Oyster Perpetual line. Early models. The Submariner model went into production in 1953 and was showcased at the Basel Watch Fair in 1954. The assigned case reference number of this first Submariner was either 6204 or 6205. It is unclear which model came first. In any event, the two watches are nearly identical. Neither has the distinctive cathedral, or Mercedes hands now so strongly associated with the Submariner line. Rather, both of these early Submariners have straight pencil-style hands. Few, if any, of the 6205 watches bear the name Submariner on the dial, a major distinction of modern Submariners. Some 6204 models have the Submariner logo printed below the center pinion, while others have the logo blacked out. It is believed that there were unexpected trademark issues connected with the name Submariner at the time the 6204 and 6205 were released, accounting for the inconsistent use of the Submariner mark on these early Submariners. Trademark irregularities notwithstanding, both the 6204 and 6205 are designated Submariner models in Rolex product literature. In 1954, Rolex also produced a small number of Ref. 6200 Submariners. This was the first Submariner to make use of the Mercedes handset, a feature of all subsequent Submariners. The 6200 also featured an oversized winding crown compared to the 6204 and 6205 models. Within a few years, Rolex revised its Submariner line, producing the 6536 and 6538 models. These watches had improved movements, including a chronometer version in some 6536 models, the now familiar Mercedes hands, and the Submariner logo and depth rating printed on the dial. By the early 1960s, these models had given way to the 5508 and 5510 models. All of these early Submariners used either gilt or gilt-silver gilt printing on glossy black dials. Radium paint was used for the luminous indices. The next wave of Submariners, the 5512 and 5513, marked a significant change in the appearance of the popular Rolex design. Shoulders were added to the crown side of the case to provide protection for the winding setting mechanism. In early Watches Euro until 1964 or so Euro, these shoulders were pyramid-shaped and ended in points. Later watches were manufactured with rounded shoulders. The 5512 and 5513 were both fitted with the oversized crown, which thereafter became a standard feature of the Submariner line. In the early 1960s, Rolex discontinued the use of radium paint for the luminous indices, switching to safer tritium-infused paint. In 1965 Euro 1966, Rolex discontinued use of gilt-silver gilt dials on the Submariner watches, switching to white printing. A final important change came with the introduction of the 1680 model in the late 1960s. The 1680 was the first Submariner to be equipped with a date function, marking the completion of the transition of the Submariner line from specialist tool watch to mass-market fashion accessory. While many professional and military divers use a Euro, and continue to use Euro's Submariners in the most demanding underwater environments, by the late 1960s, the watch had undeniably become a mass-market product as well. Later models. Throughout the next 40 years, the Submariner was updated with improved water resistance, new movements, and numerous small cosmetic changes. In 2003, Rolex celebrated the Submariner's 50th anniversary by launching the Rolex Submariner Date Anniversary Edition, with distinguishing features such as the green bezel and Mark C dial. Its production ended in 2010 with the final watches being issued with a new random serial number. In 2008, a new case from the GMT2 was introduced for the Submariner Date, featuring heavier lugs and chrome guard. A Cerachrome bezel and updated clasp featuring a quick adjust function were also added. The 14060M did not have these modifications. A new Submariner date, model 116613, based on the supercase used in the GMT2, was presented at the 2008 Basel show. The first Submariner date models offered were a yellow gold with blue face and bezel and a new white gold with blue face and bezel. The stainless steel case model was presented at the 2010 Basel show. Its reference is 116610. At the 2012 Basel World Watch Show, an updated Submariner F114060 was introduced. It replaced the 14060M, with newer Mark C case with chrome and light hour markers, ceramic bezel, blue parachrome hairspring and bracelet with glide lock extension system. Usage. The French diving company COMEX adopted the Rolex Submariner and Sea Dweller as standard issue for their saturation divers in the late 1960s. This continued until the company was sold in 1997. Current models, all models feature 300-meter water resistance. Discontinued models. Submariner spin-off, the Rolex Sea Dweller, introduced in 1971, is a heavier-duty steel version of the Submariner, with a thicker case and crystal, as well as a date feature, Sand Cyclops magnifier. The Sea Dweller incorporates a helium escape valve for use with helium-based breathing gas mixtures in saturation diving. This model has a guaranteed waterproof depth of 1,220 meters. The Sea Dweller was superseded by the Deep Sea Sea Dweller in late 2008, with the last 16,600 Sea Dwellers produced running into the V-series. The Deep Sea features a 44mm case that guarantees a depth of 3,900 meters. Model information and characteristics, waterproof to a maximum depth of 300 m. Earlier models were thinner and resistant to 200 meters. Triplock system waterproof crown, featuring a triple gasket system, identified by 3 dots on the crown. Screws down tightly onto the case tube and against the oyster case to provide an extra layer of protection. Case made from solid block of 904L stainless steel, a corrosion-resistant alloy, or gold. The golds are made in Rolex's own foundry. Unidirectional bezel that enables a diver to memorize and follow immersion time. As the bezel only rotates counterclockwise, the dive time can only become shorter in case of accidental bezel movement, averting the danger of spending too much time underwater. Perpetual rotor in the self-winding wristwatch mechanism, allowing the watch to run continuously, as every slight movement of the wrist winds the movement. The energy generated is stored in the mainspring, allowing the watch to continue to function with no movement for several days. Each movement is a Swiss chronometer officially certified by the COSC. Rolex calendar mechanism that advances to the next date at midnight in a single short rotation. Removable hologram on the caseback, featured until 2007. A laser-etched crown on the sapphire crystal at the 6 o'clock position is an additional security feature. Recent models of the Submariner and Submariner date feature a distinctive Rolex and serial number engraved on the inner bezel, also known as the retort, or flange. In popular culture, the Rolex Submariner has appeared in a number of James Bond movies, including Dr. No. In the early films Connery wore a reference 6538 Submariner, while Moore wore a reference 5513 Submariner in Live and Let Die. In order to more fully embody the character of Bond, actor George Lazenby wore a Submariner to his audition with Alberta Broccoli for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. References. External links. Rolex, Submariner, Rolex Submariner F114060 Review.